Here are the topics that will be covered in the Civil Rights Revision video. This video will cover how pressure groups and social movements promote and support rights. This will be a quick note on how pressure groups can promote or support civil rights and liberties. This subject will be expanded upon in more detail in the Pressure Groups Revision video. The rights of the citizens to form pressure groups is in itself an important civil liberty and is part of the First Amendment, the right to free speech and assembly. Citizens have used this right to form pressure groups that defend civil rights and liberties. Liberal groups have worked for the rights of African Americans and people of colour, immigrants, women, and the LGBTQ+ community. Conservative groups have campaigned for religious rights, the rights of the unborn child, and gun rights. Pressure groups use a variety of methods to promote and support rights, including fundraising to pay for the advertising campaigns to influence the public, politicians, and the judiciary, public campaigning including online campaigns, social media, rallies and marches, television advertising, and in some cases, direct action. Political campaigning including lobbying Congress and the federal government and making donations to electoral candidates. Legal campaigning including sponsoring legal cases or writing amicus curiae briefs. You will be expected to provide examples of pressure groups in the US who promote and support rights. I'm going to talk you through at least one pressure group, but you should know at least one more than this. There is the National Association for the Advancement of Coloured People. Founded in 1909, the National Association for the Advancement of Coloured People, the NAACP, is the US's oldest civil rights pressure group and today has more than 500,000 members. The group achieved major successes in the 1950s and 60s as part of the civil rights movement. It provided legal representation for protesters arrested by the government and helped to plan the 1973 March on Washington. It lobbied Congress to pass the Civil Rights Acts of 1957, 1968, and 1964, as well as the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and ran successful voter registration campaigns to increase the numbers of African American voters. It focused on winning civil rights by conventional methods, whereas Martin Luther King and other leaders employed direct action. The NAACP led a legal campaign to end racial segregation and the legal principle of separate but equal. Its special counsel lawyer, Thurgood Marshall, won a series of important victories, including Shelley v. Kramer in 1984 and Brown v. Topeka in 1954. Social movements have played an increasingly important role in promoting and supporting rights in recent years. Examples include Black Lives Matter campaigning for racial equality, the Women's March campaigning for civil rights for women, the #MeToo campaign for an end to sexual harassment and assault, and the anti-lockdown movement. Again, these are case study examples that you should know in detail. I'm going to go through at least one in detail. I'm going to be focusing on the #MeToo movement. The #MeToo movement is a social movement against sexual abuse and sexual harassment, where people publicise allegations of sex crimes. The phrase Me Too was initially used in this context on social media in 2006 by sexual assault survivor and activist Tarana Burke. Following the exposure of the widespread sexual abuse allegations against Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein in October 2017, the movement began to spread virally as a hashtag on social media. Widespread media coverage and discussion of sexual harassment, particularly in Hollywood, led to a high-profile termination from positions held, as well as criticism and backlash.